know the pedigree. You know the pedigree.
Welcome to VIP. I'm your host, Derek Gregory, and this is VIP's Poker Podcast. Today, I'm honored to bring this guest in. He is a true friend of mine, somebody who I call a friend, somebody who I've known over 20 years, somebody who has pushed, helped, motivate, brought me into the fraternity, so to speak, with his UCLA family, somebody who has a lot of competitive drive, someone who is consistent, one of the most consistent people I know, someone who taught me what it was to be a pro. Even though I didn't make it to the NBA, he was the one who really taught me how to become a pro and live like a pro and show up on time and be accountable and man, you know, he's just done so much for me, things that he probably doesn't even know. But one person that I highly respect and someone I call a friend. He's a California high school All-American, a former UCLA Bruin who stands sixth all-time in games played. He's played 8 years in the NBA over an 11-year stretch with the Washington Bullets, Washington Wizards, Portland Trail Blazers, Cleveland Cavaliers. He's been in the front office working as director of player development. He's been an assistant coach with the Washington Wizards. He now is an NBA agent and represents players. He's represented many players over the years. He's been an agent for at least 15 years now, and he's represented players like Dwight Howard, Drew Holiday, Avery Bradley, Von Wafer, Earl Watson, just to name a few. He's a father with 2 beautiful, accomplished daughters, loves them to death. He's a man of faith. And I learned that over the years, and that really drew us close together. And you know, he's a brother in Christ. I could go on and on about this mild-mannered, gentle assassin, but without further ado, I want to welcome to the show Mitch Butler. Dude, welcome, my man.
Man, appreciate you, my guy, man. Way to get you doing, you know? Yeah. Bring your boy in right, man. You know, that was real nice, man. But thanks for having me on the show, bro.
How you been, bro? I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a minute, man, but I've been fantastic, man. Just out there on the grind, doing my thing, staying in my lane, trying to motivate and help people in the best way I possibly can. And, you know, really just trying to enjoy life too, man. Get the maximum out of every day, bro.
Man, Mitch is one of those people that, you know, we may not talk every day, but every time that I do talk to you, it's like nothing has stopped. You know what I mean? Like we pick off just like we, you know, finished the sentence, you know, yesterday. To
me, D, that's what it's about, man. I think whenever you come into anybody's life, when you leave, it should be better for them. You know what I'm saying? And that's a goal of mine, you know. Everybody in my world, in my life, they fit on a chessboard for me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the more you give me, the more important you are as a piece on my chessboard, you know. And if you bring negativity, you know, uninspired energy, you know, you're a pawn to me. And, you know, I mean, I'll engage and I'll interact, but that interaction won't be to the level that it should be, where you'll get the maximum out of me and I get the maximum out of you.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, man, you've always been a positive influence in my life.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. You push, you motivate, you know, and you have a way of, you know, helping others, you know, by you know, your discipline, you know, who you are as a person, a man's man, you know. It's hard to be around people like that because, you know, you try to get the best out of other people, but that's who you are.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. As a kid growing up, you know, I had someone bring the bucket down to me and give me that opportunity. One of my mentors, a gentleman by the name of Happy Hairston, starting power forward on the Lakers' first championship team here in LA, 1975. Went to his basketball camp as a 9-year-old and, you know, performed really well, got a bunch of trophies. You know, he found out I was a good student, you know, helped me get into this elite private school here called Oakwood in North Hollywood. And you know, I got assistance, I got help along the way. I have two older brothers that didn't quite get that and probably had a different life trajectory, a different life path. And just knowing that, you know, someone was able to do that for me, if I can turn around and I can do it for one other person, man, that's just, you know, that's paying it forward.
Well, let's talk about your childhood, man.
Yeah.
Let's start from where it all began. What are some of your earliest memories of, were you, raised in a two-parent household? Were you, middle class? Were you lower class? I mean, talk about your childhood.
We were definitely poor, man.
Really?
Yeah. We didn't have
think
much,
that.
man.
Knowing you now and how eloquent you talk and, how you can just relate and be around other people, you wouldn't think that. So tell me about it.
I was actually having a conversation with Mom the other day, and she was talking about, I'm a Christmas baby. My birthday just passed, December 15th, man.
Happy belated.
Thank you, bro. And she was telling me, when I was born, she didn't have money for, gifts for, me and my brothers. So her brothers got together. She comes from a pretty big family, but her brothers got together, sent a little bit of money out so that we could have a Christmas. And she made it her life's mission for us never to have a Christmas without anything. For the rest,
yes.
Even now, we're grown men, and she's still handing us stuff for Christmas. But growing up, man, I grew up I was born in LA, in South Central.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and as a young kid, we moved from LA over into Inglewood.
Okay.
And both parents, mom and dad,
They're still together?
Still together.
Wow.
Man, we're talking 60 years, man.
That's a blessing,
it
bro.
is a blessing.
Okay.
It is a blessing. And I can remember when I was a kid, I think I might have been 5. My older brothers are 5 and 6 years older than me, so 10 and 11. We lived in a gang-infested neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah, man. I remember Dad, he grabbed us.
Where in L.A.?
Inglewood, 102nd Street, right now where the Intuit Dome is. So it sits on the apartment complex that I grew up on, man, which is pretty crazy, having played in the NBA, that an NBA arena now sits on the place where I was born or actually raised. So. Right. But I can remember my dad taking us out, man, and it was a bunch of gang members in a house next door to our apartment building. And he had his gun in his hand, and he looked at them and he said, hey, these 3 are mine right here, and
that's real.
They asked him his name. He told them, Arthur Butler. They started calling him Mr. Butler, and we had no issues, no problems in the neighborhood. They actually became very big fans and supportive of us because we did have, we had a family that was athletic and talented in different ways. My oldest brother played football. My middle brother was really good with his hands and could play instruments. And, he's an architect right now, an engineer. And, I played basketball. So, they left us alone. They had the respect for Pops.
Now, growing up, were you that it person? Did you have the silver spoon, like, kind of handed to you? Did you have a lot of talent? Talk about that.
We didn't know, man. We didn't know. Like I said, I went to Happy's camp. That was the first time I had ever gone away and done anything.
Away? Where was
When I say away, so I grew up in Inglewood. His basketball camp was down in the Westminster Garden Grove area.
Okay.
And I can remember when we were driving there and my mom was dropping me off. It was a 3-week camp. Man, I thought I was driving to New York, man. It was so far from me for a 9-year. I thought I was crazy far away from home. And I drive down there now for golf, and it's a 30-minute drive. So, but at the end, we went down, and I had a chance to. That was my first experience with sport, in a competitive sense, and. So naturally, I had that instinct in me. And I think being the youngest of 3 boys, always trying to keep up with my brothers and wanting to do things with them, that, that just, bubbled over and bubbled out in that environment. And,
Did you have a competitive household? Were you guys competing against each other? Did you want to win? Was it like, hey?
I almost feel like it's like, having a litter of puppies, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to compete, you got to compete for your space, So, having 2 older brothers, they didn't spare me, you know what I'm saying? I had to figure it out. I had to push and grind and fight for what I wanted, but always in a loving manner, But at the end of the day, I wanted to try to keep up with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in like the church? Was church?
Yeah, we did grow up in the church. Very religious, very spiritual family. We have lots of deep conversations around religion. I'm constantly questioning faith and belief, because I do believe that brings you closer to God. Closer 100%. Closer to your faith. And, he wants those questions, because when he provides the answers, you're fulfilled.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, family, man, listen, we were a close-knit group, man. We didn't have much, but you would have never known it, just by, how we moved, how we acted, how we behaved. Our house was always open to any and everyone. We had family members my parents are from the South, from Mississippi. We had family members come from the South, live with us for years. We're talking about 10, 12 people in a 3-bedroom house. But that was the love that we shown. We had, friends in our apartment building, families move away, and the kid wanted to stay and go to school. So the kid stayed with us, moved in. My dad always had a philosophy and a thought process that you never turn away anyone that comes to your door, because he said that could be God in disguise.
That's
so,
real.
a great young childhood, man. I loved every minute of it.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Now, did you guys play card games at all? Did you play spades, tongs?
Yeah, so in the household, your typical black family, you got all your relatives over and they're playing spades, and you're hearing the cards flop down, the wrist slapping and all that.
Spades,
so and then with us, we crack open the piggy bank and we go and grab the pennies and the nickels. Now laters were 10 cents back then, and then you go down, you start pitching your pennies against the wall, so you can get the pennies a little bit closer. You win 30 or 40 cents where you thought you were rich. You go to the store, you get your 5 packs of now laters, man. You were good for the day.
Good for the day. So you did play card games and whatnot.
Yeah, did. I learned very early. I learned blackjack. And the basic skills of blackjack very early. Okay. I was always good with math and numbers.
Okay. Is that what drew you to poker? I mean, that's.
I think what drew me to poker was more of the skill of the game and the fact that you could play it for a longer time without losing a lot of your money.
You're a thinker. Yeah.
I am a thinker.
Okay.
You
play chess as well?
I do. I play chess as well.
Okay. Many poker players do.
Yeah, and I think
golf as well.
Golf as well too. So you got to you got to think it through, because it's the respect of the game that you give it. When I go and I play and I see people who play every hand, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
I almost want to pull them aside and say, hey man, listen, you can't have a hand every hand. It's just statistically the numbers don't work that way. But some people just enjoy sitting down playing, and they can't relax, think, talk, associate. That's the best part of poker.
Okay.
You meet all kinds of people. So I was on a golf course yesterday with a great guy, and he's fabulously wealthy. He's at a prestigious club here. Super guy.
Okay.
And we go to the 19th hole after we finished, and we're sitting down talking, and he's telling me, he's been to Flight 23 down in Florida playing on Michael Jordan's private course. He used to play in Molly's game.
Here, in New York.
But he played in the one here in LA.
Okay.
So he typically he'll breeze through some of the casinos around here and play. And this guy's fabulously wealthy, but he plays in a moderate game. He doesn't play in this huge, big game.
It's like Bill Gates.
Just sits down and socializes. You know what I'm saying? You have great conversation with him. You learn some things from him. He learns some things from you.
Exactly.
That's the beautiful part about poker, man. Is that it's an opportunity for you to socialize, meet people, and really gain perspective. If you keep an open mind. Some people sit down and they want to play every hand. They don't get that perspective.
So that's why you play the game. It's more the social aspect, camaraderie.
Yeah, and I am a competitor too.
Okay.
So I do want to win. So
it's
it does
not all about winning.
It satisfies that thirst. I don't want to sit and lose. I want to sit, win, and have a good time while I'm doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When was the first time that you actually played? Who taught you?
Who taught me poker? I think I learned poker. My family used to go to Vegas.
Because it's not an average black game.
It isn't. My family used to go to Vegas. Like every summer we would go, 3 or 4 days to Vegas. We stayed at the Four Queens downtown.
Okay, how old were you?
Gosh, I might have been 9, 10.
Okay.
And, my parents would play a little bit. We'd bring my grandma down. My grandma would sit in front of a little nickel machine, and she had her little sock full of nickels, and she would put her little nickels in and just pull a slide and take, she probably spent $2 over 4 hours. It took her that long to get the coins into the machine. But, you know, it was a fun experience. But I remember that our parents would bring us down and we would stand outside and they would have the little poker machines right there.
So you learned on the machine?
So I learned how to play poker
on the machine.
My parents would put in 50 cents for us, hit play, cards would come up and say, oh, hold this one, hold that one. You know?
Aces.
Yes, exactly.
So that's how you learned the game.
That's how I learned the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you didn't play in high school or college?
And in high school, I didn't play much. You know, and then we started traveling and playing travel ball in high school, and we would go to Vegas, but, you know, never did. And then in college, you know, we started playing, you know, football players at UCLA, some of the basketball players, you know, we'd host
so it was with the football guys?
Football guys
okay,
too,
so it bring everybody together.
Brings everybody together, man. And the football guys, you know, they love to shoot dice or to shoot craps more than anything. And I didn't particularly love craps. It wasn't my game. It's tough to socialize. You know, all you hear is a bunch of talking and, you know, clack, 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 rolling the dice. But, you know, the poker was fun, man. The poker was, you know, really, you know, guys just sitting down, telling stories, laughing, you know. It was always, you know, good camaraderie, man.
I got you. So talk about, you know, you talked about childhood. Let's get into like, you know, your high school years and things like that. Like, you know, how did you become, how do I say, competitive, and what got you that drive?
What drove me? When I look back on just growing up and being competitive with my brothers, and I get to high school and I start competing, and it really probably started a little bit before high school. I remember when I got into the school that I ended up graduating from, Oakwood School, I came in 6th grade.
How'd you get into Oakwood?
So Happy
because
Hairston.
You said that your brothers didn't get the same opportunity.
So let me rewind and tell you that.
Yeah.
So when I went to that camp with Happy Hairston and I performed well and I had all these trophies at the end, and my mom is there at you know.
So you were that kid talking about trophies.
Yeah, you know, I didn't know. You know, Hustle Award, MVP. You know, I won a free throw shooting. I had like 5 or 6 awards. You know, I remember Happy.
This is what, 10, 11, 12.
I was 9.
9. Okay.
Yeah, and Happy says to my mom, hey, you know, he's a pretty good athlete.
He's got a chance.
You know, but what kind of student is he? My mom says he gets straight A's. And he's like, oh, really? And he says, I have a youth foundation where I take kids from the inner city and I place them in private schools all around the LA county. So he had Crossroads, he had Brentwood, he had Oakwood, he had Buckley. It was a school, Bel Air Prep at the time. I think now it's Pacific Christian. He had Harvard and Westlake, which were 2 different campuses at that time. Chadwick up in Palos Verdes. So he had a bunch of different schools and, you know, chose Oakwood for me. I went out, did the testing. They wanted to bring me in my 5th grade year, but we're going to have to hold me back. And I was already a holdback because I was born late in the year in December, so my mom didn't want to hold me back 2 years. So what ended up happening was I came the following year in 6th grade. Ended up befriending a kid named Noah Wylie, who's a pretty successful actor, you know, Dr. Carter on ER.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I think he has his own show now, Pitt, or I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
But, you know, befriended him. We were best friends. He loved basketball.
Yeah.
So, you know, we go out and we play on the playgrounds and stuff. And, you know, I was very close to dunking a basketball in 6th grade.
Damn.
So
6th grade?
Yeah, in 6th grade. So it was pretty crazy.
And 9th grade, man.
Yeah, I know, man. It was nuts.
6?
So
how tall were you? Always a tall?
I was 5'11" at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, 5'10", 5'11".
Okay.
Yeah. But, you know, as a kid running around, anything that was high, you know, you'd run and jump. That's how you entertain yourself, you know what I'm saying? So I would just try to touch things super high. You know, we had this beam in our apartment complex that was probably about a solid, you know, maybe 8, 9 feet high. You jump up and, you know, put 2 hands on it and hold on to it. And, you know, do that a bunch. And, you know, you're building those muscles up. So my 7th grade year, I started being able to dunk a basketball. So, you know, word gets out around town.
Only about 6 foot.
Yeah, like, this kid is at Oakwood and he can dunk a basketball. So people started coming to the games and, I get a breakaway, and that's how everybody wanted to see, just the breakaway and go up and, you're all gangly and, you got no control over your muscles, but you get up and you throw one in and, it was worth the drive, worth the wait. Then the skill started to catch up with the athleticism, and then things start to happen.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing, bro. So did you have like a somebody that really pushed you? Did your brothers push you, or was it like an inner? Is it something that you just always wanted to be?
It's really crazy. My parents were the best. Like, they never put any pressure on us. So my oldest brother was a high school All-American in football, and he played at Morningside. He was on a team with Suge Knight. I think he might have been a year or two behind Suge Knight, but he ended up going to UNLV, playing with Randall Cunningham.
See, Morningside is way different than Oakwood.
Oakwood, very different. So that's what that was the route they went. They went public, Morningside, in the hood, blood territory.
So you grew up around, white folks, and it was multicultural. In the valley.
My neighborhood where I grew up in Inglewood was all black and
right. But what I'm saying was, when you were shipped out to high school, middle school, that's all you were.
That's all I was.
So that's why you can
primarily, Jewish community.
You're like a chameleon.
People,
You can relate to so many different people because you've been in so many different.
I've always said, man, listen, you can stick me in any environment, and I can walk in with my pajamas and a robe on, and I'll feel as comfortable.
But you got those opportunities as a kid.
Yes.
Your parents, your brothers didn't necessarily get that. And that's what kind of has molded and shaped you into who you are now. Correct?
And I'll tell you this too, D. You're correct with that. And I think that a lot of times, being able to find your comfortability within systems and situations and circumstances really allows you to be able to rise above and thrive in any type of an environment. A lot of people can't really do that because they feel something when they get into an uncomfortable situation. As an agent now, whenever I'm talking to kids about having success, the one thing that I try to sell them on more than anything else is learning to be comfortable when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So think about it in poker. Someone puts you to the test with all your chips.
Yeah, you got to be cool, calm, and collected.
Exactly. Are you comfortable, or you put someone to the test with all your chips? Are you comfortable doing that? It's an uncomfortable feeling because you could win or you could lose. But at the end of the day, if you're able to manage that situation the right way, you should see success a lot more than you see failure.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, would you credit Happy for kind of helping you change your trajectory in life?
Without a doubt. Without meeting him, I think I still would have been successful. I think it could have been different. So I grew up in Inglewood. Harold Miner, Sam Crawford, Zan Mason was around the way at Westchester. Big ass stuff. So I had some legends, man, some legends.
And they all around the way.
And they all around the way, man. Okay. We all, we go around to the different parks and we're playing and stuff. And
Baby Jordan.
Baby Jordan. I still think I would have made it because I had that competitive spirit. Being able to be in rooms and to know and to understand and to have learned what I learned at Oakwood, I think really gave me a good opportunity. And it might have been a hindrance to me a little bit too, because I got to feel what the silver spoon looked like and could potentially taste like versus being in a community where you just don't get to see it at all.
Did you get that hate coming back to the hood? You know what I mean?
Sometimes, it wasn't hate.
Oh, this nigga think he, you know what I'm saying? He shifted. You a Valley boy now. You understand what I'm saying? Like, did you get that hate? Sometimes, did you get a bully? Did you get somebody that was like, F and B, man?
Well, sometimes, it was, oh man, he speaks white. He speaks proper. I learned to add the T's and to the K's and, to finish off a word and not, let the word drip off my tongue. But
you never let the hate really.
But I never let it bother me. And again, even today now, people jeer and they make comments and, they have opinions and thoughts about me in my space, in the agency space, or just in life in general. And I'm like, listen,
that's one thing about you that I do know. You don't worry about what anybody says. You're comfortable in your own skin.
Bro.
You know who you are in Christ. You know what I'm saying? And you just, you keep it going, right?
I'm going to tell you, man, that's the biggest thing, because I think you fighting all those individual small battles just detract from you. It's like that little piece of thread on the clothing, you pull it and it just starts to, why waste your time with that, man? Like, listen, if you know who you are, if you really know who you are, you shouldn't have to fight those battles.
Not even work.
You know what I'm saying? Because when they go to the people that know you and they start speaking, they're like, man, man, I already know Mitch, man. Like, you're crazy, dude. That's not him, you know. You may have had a bad experience, or, you know, you just maybe bring something to the experience.
Your reputation supersedes you. You know what I mean?
I like to believe that, man. And
it does. You know, anybody who talks about you talks highly of you. I
appreciate
that, and I appreciate that. You know, and I walk around, you know, saying, "Hey, man, Mitch, that's my man." You know what I mean? Because you know, you learn a lot about people through others. You know, and what others say about you. You know what I mean? You've been I think too, a staple in the community and in the basketball world, and people really respect you, man.
Yeah. At the end of the day, man, and I appreciate that, bro. I really do, man. I think at the end of the day, that's all you can really ask for is that, you know, listen, like I said, you come into somebody's life, you try to make it better when you leave, you know, so then when they walk away, like, damn, that's a good dude, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you're building bridges all over the place, you know, and you can go back and forth over those bridges. And, you know, if you do have a problem, hey, man, talk to me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I made a mistake, listen, dude, I'll own it and I'll apologize to you, man. Listen, that wasn't my intent or design. You know what I'm saying? Because that fosters community, man. And when you foster community and you foster growth, listen, man, we can kill a game.
That's real.
We really can.
I remember 10 years ago, I owed you $500, and Mitch was like, "Hey, man, where's my $500? I gave it back to you, man, but we talked about it, and you was mad." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we still good, man.
We kept it going, right?
Still good, bro.
We still good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it's all about,
hey,
bro.
But it's real. You know what I mean? And you held me accountable to that, and you looked me straight in my eyes and said, "Hey, D, man, I need that." And I was like, "Yo, you know what, bro? Man, things been tight right now, but I got you." You understand what I'm saying?
And you needed a little time, and that's all it is with me. Like, pick up the phone and just, "Hey, Mitch, man, listen, man, things are a little tough for me." I'll be like, "Okay, cool."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the type of guy, I'm really rational, and I understand. I take things, I process it, and I'm like, okay, listen, I push away from the table, I walk to the other side, I try to look at it, and I'm like, okay, listen, if your situation doesn't allow you to do such, okay, I'm cool with that, man. Listen, I'll give you some more time. Like, you know, we're good. But if I feel like you're abusing my kindness, then I get upset. And then I'm not the type of person that want to get upset. But when I do, it's kind of scary because I go to the deep end. And I don't like to do
so you have that. You have that side of you.
I do have that side of me, but I don't like to show it because it's nasty.
Really?
Yeah, it's nasty.
Really?
It is.
So you know, what is it? Physical? You know?
I could get that way.
Have you ever gotten to the point where it's just you just black out?
Yes.
Really?
So it's scary like that. I remember.
A lot of people wouldn't think that about you.
Yeah, they wouldn't. I was
because
driving.
How mild-mannered you are. Come on,
let me tell you, sir. I was driving with my family in the car, my ex-wife and my two girls. My girls were little. And I'm driving, I remember on Ocean Avenue in Santa Monica, and this car was thinking that I was trying to take its spot, and it was on the other side of the street and had to cut across me to get to the spot, and just did so right as, you know, I'm pulling up and put my kids and my family in jeopardy. I kind of snapped then, you know what I'm saying? And I got out of my car, and probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but, you know, you put my family in jeopardy, like, you know, over a parking space. Stupid. Like, why would you do that? You know? And
so how'd you handle it?
I confronted the person, and I was nervous and jittery because I just wanted to stick my hand through the window.
But you didn't.
And my kids were yelling, my ex-wife was yelling, like, you know, get back in the car. And I was really upset, you know, and I refrained from, you know, taking a swing, but it took everything in me not to do it because I was at that level.
Yeah. Me looking at you, it's almost like I see the God in you. You know what I mean? And by saying that, I feel as though there's only a certain you only go a certain a distance before you know. Again,
I'm rational. I like to try to think things through. You know, I try to get to understanding what the repercussions are going to be. You know, the issues, the responsibilities, and I'm not.
You think
perfect.
all those things through as you're going through it. That's
and I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes in life where I didn't get to, you know, understanding what the end results were, and you know, have had issues or problems. It happens to me in poker sometimes when I'm sitting down and I'm playing, and you know, I'm not really thinking things through clearly the right way, and I make a bad play or I make a bad move, and you know, it ends up costing me. But you know, again, you know, if you're playing that game and you're playing the game of life, you learn so much from the correlations from it, bro. It is, if you've got great discipline, you'd have success there. If you have great discipline, you should have great success in life.
Very true, but where did all this come from? Like, it's almost like it's second nature to you right now, but explain to our audience, like, how did this come about? Was it in high school? Where did you get this discipline? Was it church? Was it your family? Was it mom's? Was it my brothers? What was it? Because looking back, you can pinpoint and say, what, this certain instance is kind of what, helped me.
I would like to say it's one thing, but it really isn't one thing. It's life's experiences, man. So it's a number of different experiences that when you total them up and you start to think about the things that have happened to you in your life, it should start to shape you. So when we go into a community and we see people that are living hard, they don't know anything but what that community provides, and that community provides the toughest situations. As a sports agent, I've driven across some areas in the South where I'm looking at black and brown communities, and I'm like, they have no shot, no chance. You can just look at how hard the living is, and it's all they know. And that's what they're going to grow up, and that's going to be their fabric, their DNA, exactly. But when you have experiences, so when I look around and, I see, guys like, I'll talk about a few of my UCLA guys, Toby Bailey, Baron Davis, Derek Martin, Matt Barnes, Earl Watson.
Dudes,
I mean, Earl Watson grew up in one of the toughest neighborhoods.
Did he really? I know he had the older brothers, what I'm saying?
Yes, tough.
Okay.
But
he had a grit.
when you communicate with Earl, man, you never know that. He's got different layers. So now, if he needed to go there, he could.
Right.
But he doesn't.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? But on the same level, he's able to communicate in a lot of different rooms because of those experiences. It's the same thing with me. I've had a lot of different experiences.
Okay.
And then I tend to try to stay on the side of, the positive, good, successful ones.
But why?
Why? Because,
So was it in church, your mom's, kind of, told you that this is the right way to go? Why? What helps you, drive you?
I think seeing some of my friends. So I had a
being
really
in the
good
hood,
childhood
did you see people die, or did you see, people get incarcerated? What was it? Because sometimes you can go one way or the other.
Right.
And it's a certain instance that you're like, damn, hold up. I'm not trying to go down.
I had that choice. I had a very good childhood friend. We used to share everything. So like I said, you went 30, 40 cents, you go to the store, you get your now and laters. He get half, I get half. We had a little fish market that would make, these French fries, and, he gets fries and he share half with me. He was a couple of years older than me. And then he got introduced to the crack game, right as it started to come into.
Yeah, that's right. So you were in the crack era.
So when you see Snowfall,
80s.
I feel like Snowfall was right smack dab in my neighborhood, because I saw it. I saw when it happened, and he started cooking it up and doing this. And
you saw it.
I saw it.
You saw him cooking the crack. So you went to the crib. So y'all were going to the
crack and cutting it up and putting it in bags. And I was looking at it.
What deterred you from that? What was it? What was it was a moral compass? Was it?
I think it was your family. My family.
Was it that?
Yeah. And we just didn't tolerate that.
You didn't.
We didn't.
And moms instilled that in you. Pops instilled that in. So was your pops a no nonsense guy, or was he?
No.
Was that?
Yeah.
Was he like the military?
Our deal in our family was.
Did you have chores growing up?
Yeah, chores a whole.
Really?
Our deal in our family was.
So those are the things. That
was the foundation.
The foundation.
That was the foundation.
Okay.
Our rule in our family was, if one got in trouble of the boys, all three got in trouble, because the other two should have stopped the one from getting in trouble. And I love my oldest brother to death, but he got in trouble all the time. It just seemed like it found him for some reason or another. If someone was breaking into a house, he happened to be walking by, the cops would grab him. You know what I'm saying? And it was just unfortunate in that way. But we that's how we went. But
family
to go back to this story about this good childhood friend of mine, so then I start seeing the money come in. So he's got every color of Fila, Theodores. We're 10, I'm 13, he's 15, okay. 16.
Okay, a little older.
And yes, I mean, he's got every color of khaki. You know, he's just.
Man said khakis.
Oh man, I mean, we back in the day, corduroy. You know, the corduroy pants. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he had it all, bro. Okay. You know, and
now was he like gang affiliated?
No, he wasn't gang. Eventually he ended up saying that he was a part of Rolling 60 gang, which he might have been.
And how far was 60s and 40s from where you were?
From where I was, they were pretty far. You know, because I grew up on 102nd Street, and we had the 10 Deuce Raymond Crips, who were our gang. That was the neighborhood. That was the group that my dad went by with the gun and said, "Hey, these are mine."
Okay, neighborhood.
And then literally down and around the corner was Morningside High School, and that was Inglewood family. You know what I'm saying? So you had those guys.
But most people would never even think this about you, MB.
Oh, man.
And most people wouldn't know that, you've been in the hood, that, that you can relate, and it's like, you've lived it.
I mean, I've seen it. I've just chosen not to have that be the dominant trait in my DNA. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, when I engage with people, again, I want to be able to inspire hope, inspire passion, inspire, that, you know what, man, listen, we may have had struggles, but it's always better. Yeah, we can overcome it. It's always better if we do that. Yeah. And again, that other side, it doesn't have to be, part of the system. It's just you affording yourself a better life, a safer life. You know what I'm saying? Where you get to wake up every day, your kids get to wake up every day, and they don't have that type of violence around them. Because in my neighborhood, during the gang wars, during Colors, when Ice-T, bro, it was every day someone was getting shot. We couldn't go to the front of our apartment building. My mom was like, "Hey, listen, nope, you got to go in the back." And we had a little makeshift basketball court that we put up on. We had a big brick wall back in the back, and we just took a big piece of wood, and we took a tire frame, and we nailed it on up there, and then we put something on the back side of it, and we slid it around. And sometimes a guy shoots off, and the ball goes over the fence. You got to run and jump over the fence and jump back over the fence and run the ball back. So man, it was nuts, man. But it was tough, man. Tough growing up. But I just chose that different pattern.
So this dude, what ended up happening to him?
He ended up getting caught. He went up to Portland. He started slanging in Portland, and made a bunch of money, and then went down to Texas, and they caught him. First offense, 25 years.
Damn. Is he out now?
He's out now.
You still talk to him?
I haven't spoke to him, man.
But he's out.
I know he's out. Okay. And again, I think he's probably, that probably shook him really, really tough.
25 years. Yeah.
But, yeah, man, growing up, it wasn't an easy childhood, man. There was a lot going on in the neighborhood, but everyone knew what I was doing, and everyone kept pushing. You gotta do this.
That's what I'm saying. So you were the one. That's what I was asking you.
Do this.
Sometimes you see somebody that's young, and you're like, that's He got potential right there. You know what I'm saying? And but that's the old school crew. They want to help him and push and make sure that you don't go down that route. You know what I mean?
Because the guy, and I'll say his name on the podcast, Big James. He and his family, they ran the Raymond Avenue Crips. Okay. And Big James, I could be walking from the store, and a youngin that don't know would try to, hey man, what you? And Big James be like, not that one. Not that one. Really? And he used to always look out. In fact, probably up until I don't know, maybe several years ago, I'm gonna say maybe 10 years ago, my mom still lives in the same general area. She moved from Inglewood to Hawthorne. He went by and he was like, "Hey, what Mitch doing?" My mom was like, "You stay away from me."
but he helped shelter.
Oh yeah. When you were a kid. He was definitely the shield and the blanket because, I'll tell you another grace. I remember me and my little crew, my little posse of guys. We were I think 9, 10, they had broken into a place and stole a whole bunch of stuff, man. And my apartment building was right next to the houses, and they were running through the side, and the cops were coming, so they just started throwing stuff underneath the house. So we had a little clubhouse under there. Me and my boys, had a little carpet in there, and
everything.
Some chairs and stuff. And we see all this food coming in: high C fruit punch, Twinkies, and we went to work, man.
For weeks.
We ate all that stuff up, man. They came back and trashed our clubhouse. But I tell you what, man, those experiences, man, when you think back on them, and you know the way that you know you navigate life and you get to this point in life, you know, you really do say, hey, man, listen, statistically, odds beating them, you know,
I made it.
Yeah, man. It's, you know, it's
man,
crazy.
My God's grace, man. So listen, man, you've always been a winner, and you know, we were talking about what was it, middle school into, you know, 10, 12. Now we're going into high school and whatnot. Right. I was doing my research and saw that is this true that you scored like 55 points in a game?
Yeah.
You scored more points than the entire other team?
Yeah. We played a school called Rebbe Academy, and you know, they came in to the gym and they were athletic. And, you know, some of the guys on our team, I think they were a little bit nervous, a little bit intimidated.
This is
Oakwood, yeah.
Now you bring in the hood, like so are you're playing at Oakwood, but are you working out in the hood, like in Inglewood, or are you with all these other guys? Like how?
Yeah, I'll tell you this, like, you know, I
like
kind of feel like I was at
during that time.
Yeah, it was, but I was at a deficit. Like I didn't get a lot of the training. When I look back on it, I said, "Gosh, I could have been a lot better." I didn't get a lot of training like other kids got along the way. You know, I would see older kids playing, maybe get a chance to go out and play with them sometimes, but it was just a natural competitive spirit of mine. I played football, and I was probably better in football than I was in basketball, but I love to compete. And, you know, growing up in the neighborhood, you know, I never really had tutelage along the way. I just went out and I would watch. My favorite team was the 76ers. I watched Dr. J, Mo Cheeks, you know, Andrew Toney, Bobby Jones, you know, Caldwell Jones, all those guys. And I just go outside and try to mimic whatever I saw on TV. And, you know, I didn't have the formal training that a lot of people had back then. And then, you know, now, the science of it now is just down to, crazy, you know, the most finite points. But I, you know, that game against Rebbe Academy, you know, I don't know what happened. I got into the zone, and I've only been in the zone, I think, athletically a few times. And, you know, I remember the reporter came up to me. I had 50 of my team's 55.
That's crazy.
And Rebbe Academy had 48.
That's crazy. Is that when people really started coming after you, all the big D1 schools and whatnot?
No, it started to happen my sophomore year of high school, where people were like, you know, like, you know, he's pretty good. And then,
so you in Inglewood getting shipped to the Valley. How long is it? What's like an hour bus drive? Bro. Bus drive every day.
On the bus, it was an hour and a half.
So you'd have to get up 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, be at the bus stop by I'm getting up at 5. I have to be at the bus stop by 6. And then it's when I was taking the bus from Inglewood all the way to North Hollywood, that was like an hour, 45 minutes. Yeah, every day.
School. Then practice. Then somebody.
And then then I would get a ride home. And sometimes I wouldn't catch the bus because it would be too late. But if it was a day that I didn't have practice or stuff like that, I'd be able to get a ride home.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a sacrifice, but one in which. I think if anything helped me more, it was one of the bigger pillars to help me in life, man. Because it just that grind,
having that commitment, having to
when I end up
discipline to get up every morning.
Yeah, when I end
on
up
time, like because you're a very punctual person.
Yes, I try.
Anybody who knows you knows that you're very punctual.
Yes,
you know, right? Am I lying?
Because
that's one of the first things that you taught me, bro. You know what I mean? You and Irv Magic Johnson when I used to play on Magic traveling team, he taught me that at the second time that I came into the gym. You know what I mean? And you've always been on the same tip.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know, you always have to be respectful of other people's time.
Yeah.
And if you're respectful of other people's time, then they have respect for you at the end of the day. And, you know, my college coach used to always say, be on time when time is necessary. And then in the NBA, when we got there, it was like, hey, if you ain't 15 minutes early, you're late. You're late. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, those things stick with you. The hard way. Yeah, and, you know, you become punctual, but you become respectful of other people's time. Yeah, Magic taught me that. Critical, man. Magic did not play.
Man, the second time I was 5 minutes late. That man stopped the whole gym. He said, hey, man, who you think you are, man? Get your ass up out of here, man. He told me, because Larry Spriggs, I don't know if you know Spriggs. Spriggs was real close with my pops. My pops played in the Big Ten. He played at Wisconsin. And, you know, my father and Magic, you know, were rivals or whatever. So, you know, that's how he brought me in. That's what's up. Let me, you know, I didn't know that, work out with the team. Yeah. So Spriggs pulled me to the side. He said, hey, man, you can come back tomorrow, but if you are ever later than 15 minutes early, don't you ever come back. That's it. And you know, from that point on, I was always on time, and it was people like you, Derek Martin, you know, Toby Bay. You know, you guys really helped me and instilled, you know, what it meant to be a pro. You know what I mean? And it starts with, you know, your time.
Yeah, we like to believe, man, that we created community there, man, for a lot of people. And if you listened, it was going to work for you, you know. So the young guys would come along, whether it was Barron, who was just crazy talented.
How do you think that it was, because UCLA is like a brotherhood one, but everybody congregated to that gym. Why? We were 14th in Olympic for a little while. Nobody really went to USC. Some people went to Loyola, Marymount, Colby, and them. But how did UCLA become the hub?
It was Magic and those guys when he very first got to LA. So, you know, if you go back, you know, every now and again on Facebook, I catch an old photo, and you know, they're in Poly or they're in the men's gym, and it's Magic, it's Mike McGee, it's Spriggs, it's Byron, it's Coop. It's Reggie Miller. It's
OG.
Like, you know, but, you know, you're talking like, you know, Nigel McGill, like Brad Wright, you know, you're going back into the mid part of the early part of the 80s, man. And it just, it started going.
So did you know these guys coming up?
I didn't know them until I got to campus. And then Magic just took us under the wing, man, and he gave us, you know.
So Irv brought you in.
Yeah, he brought us in.
This was your freshman year?
Freshman year.
Irv was already on campus.
He was already there. They were already doing their thing, and they just incorporated us.
What year was this?
So this was 89. 89, I came in
So before that, you were great, high school, you know, didn't really have many pros. Did you have pros?
No.
Influence?
I didn't have that
in
type
high
of
school?
Influence. Now, one guy that I saw who was a legend, that Harold and I, we can sit down and we can talk hours about this guy.
Harold, you said?
Harold Miner.
Oh, okay.
A guy named Jason Works, man. He was something phenomenal, man. We go to the gym, and I mean, this dude would hold down the court all day, and I mean, he was cat quick, wet. I mean, when I tell you a wet jumper, he should have been in the league, man. There's just no way that, in one of the best players I've ever seen play.
And what have you?
Religious conviction.
Really?
He took a shot in the game. He backed out. He could have broken a guy down and got to the lane, backed out, close to half court. This is the legend that it was told to me. Shot a shot, made it. They won the game. Asked him why he shot the shot, and he said God told him to. Then his coach came up to him and said, you can't play for God and me at the same time.
Wow.
And he walked away from the game.
Wow.
And he would play summer pro league with Magic and Coop and all of those dudes. He'd come in, he'd drop 35, 40 and a half.
Really?
And he'd be gone. He was cold, man. He was real.
He was
Jason
like a John Williams type?
He little dude. Little
small.
point guard. Yeah, probably about 6 feet, 6'1", cat quick. But I mean, the jumper was picture perfect, man.
So that was the high school person that
he was the person, that Harold and I would see, and we would just be in awe. We were like, oh gosh, like he was touchable, he was tangible
like
to us.
Shea Cotton type.
Yeah, and then you see a guy like Shea coming along later, but when you look at Shea, like Shea had so much set up for him to see, to try to say, okay, I'm going to go get this and be better than that, which he did. Shea was, I do remember when Shea came to UCLA, and I was like, I think I was 2 years in the league, and I was like, man, I had problems with this kid, man. He was 17. I was like, too. Whoa.
Him and his brother.
Yeah, James was really good too. Yeah, man, Shea was something to behold, man. If UCLA could have kept him, they might have won multiple chips.
I agree. So you come onto the campus, UCLA. Magic brings you in. Who was the coach? Herrick?
Jim Herrick was our coach.
Jim Herrick was the coach.
Jim Herrick was our coach.
Who was some of your teammates?
So freshman year, Trevor Wilson was our guy. He was our leader. Kevin Walker were the seniors on the team. And then we had a good run with several guys because Gerald Mackins, who was supposed to be the next guy in line, got injured, so he redshirted. So we got 2 years to play and develop and grow together. So you had Gerald Mackins, Derek Martin, Tracy Murray, myself, Zan Mason, Don McClain, and then Tyus and Ed O'Bannon came in, and Sean Tarver. So the team became pretty stacked. And we talk about it to this day. We were selfish. If we weren't selfish, we could have gotten out of there, I think, with one national championship.
What do you mean selfish?
You
didn't share the ball?
I think we were all thinking about the league.
Okay.
The league. Everyone.
Now, was it the summertime? Was it, because there were so many pros that were around, when I came out here, that's all I was around was pros. Talk about, your first year and how it opened your eyes to be around the professional.
Yeah. When we came, you're looking, you're seeing guys that's winning NBA championships, like they're stacking them, the whole Lakers squad.
And y'all working out.
And we working out with them. And, Magic was great, man. And Byron and Coop, James, Big Game James, they were all, they never felt threatened. They were always willing to give you knowledge.
Really? Big Game James? He'd be up at the gym?
Too, man. Okay. Yeah, man.
I know AC Green, later on, he used to be up there.
And then because of who they were, you catch Mark Aguirre gliding through the gym. Isaiah would come through the gym every now and then. Dominique Wilkins may filter in.
Really?
So you're seeing all these dudes, man, and you're like,
Dominique,
above the rim.
Above the rim.
You were in a little piece of heaven, man. But all of those guys were always willing to give you knowledge, to give you game. Yeah, Kiki. Yeah. These dudes were unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Gergovich.
Tim Gergovich, one of the best motivators of all time.
Yes,
man.
he is.
And knew the finer details of player development. I think probably the best to ever do it. There are a lot of guys out there that, through social media hype, are good guys. Tim Gergovich, at 65, he's out there, man. He's doing it. He's doing it. But, great detail for, growth and development as a basketball player. You're going to get better with him.
Yeah. Because he just has a love and passion and knowledge of the game.
Oh, yeah. It was deep. It was deep, man. And, you were really privileged if you had an opportunity to work out with him.
So college, high school, then college, explain that experience. Did you ever, did you start, having those games, the poker games, have camaraderie with, the football players, or, did you ever have these games that you played with Irv or on the bus or,
I really didn't start the poker probably until my junior year when I moved off campus. When I was on campus, I really didn't do much. And I knew the football players would shoot craps because we hear the music and, every now and again you stick your head in. They're in there sweating, throwing the dice. They want it hot too, man. They want the room super hot.
I was a dice player on my damn self.
Oh, man. This would be hilarious watching those guys. But, then when we moved off campus, Derek Martin and I lived together. With a guy named Ross Flowers who was on the track team, and you got a few more bills now, so you got to make a little bit of extra money for the phone bill, electricity and water, power, all of that. So you start playing a little bit of cards. You win $20-$30. You're happy. Okay. I can cover a couple of bills here and there. So
it was a competitiveness.
So it was competitiveness too. Just because like I said, our teams were talented. and highly competitive.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where we didn't appreciate the talent that we were playing against. We were more competing against the talent that we were playing with. You know, Derek Martin was unbelievable, man, in high school, man. I mean, he was a walking bucket.
Really?
And then you look at Tracy.
Left hand. Tracy was a bucket too.
Oh, my gosh, man. I mean, I remember
right
watching
and left
Tracy.
hand.
Yeah.
I mean, pure shooter.
Yeah, the left-hand jumper looks prettier than my right-hand jumper. I mean... It was
Steve Murray is something special.
And Tracy could feel it. I mean, you look at Don, and Don was super talented, and Gerald Mackins was a high competitor. I wouldn't have gone to UCLA if Gerald Mackins didn't get injured. I would not have gone. He was that good. Like I remember going to their games as a junior in high school and watching him, and I was like, man, he's good. Like, you know.
I heard that you were recruited by Duke, all the big, you know.
Yeah, all the big ones.
You have, you know, Coach K.
Coach K brought me in the second week of visits.
Oh, you went to visit Duke.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the first week, Bobby Hurley and Bill McCaffrey came in, and they committed on the spot.
Okay.
And then my understanding was they had one scholarship left. And I came in the second week. Robert Brickey was their senior, and they were looking for guys to replace, you know, or to build behind Robert Brickey.
Two guard.
Yeah. Big, strong, you know, wing, really, a big, strong wing.
Okay.
So they had Brian Davis, who was there, who was my host on the trip, who was fantastic guy, man. I love being.
Tell me some stories, man. How was the trip, bro?
The trip to Duke was off the charts, man. I'm going to tell you this, man. I'm going to tell you this. I really wanted to go. I really wanted to go. So let me tell you what happened.
How they set it up?
So let me tell you what happened.
Detail,
so I did the trip, man. We go over to... what is that that's right there next to it? It's not, is it UNC Asheville or
they're all together.
They're all together.
All right there in the ear.
And they took me over there to the campus, man. We saw a Greek show, and you know, I mean, I got the full experience, man.
What's the full experience, man?
Like, we go to one of their mom and pop stores.
Okay.
So we walk in, and I'm with Brian Davis, and I'm with somebody else. I can't recall who. It might have been Christian Laettner.
Really?
And and they're talking.
How was Christian? He was cool.
Christian was real cool.
He's like a real brother.
He was real cool. He was a brother.
Yeah.
Is
he a white boy, or is he kind of like?
Christian's a brother, man.
He's a brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
Christian. Yeah. Like he was for real, man. Like, and then I had a chance to play with him in the league too.
Yeah.
And you know, probably one of the most misunderstood guy. Crazy talented.
Okay.
And just, you know, should have been way better than what he demonstrated in the league, but I think that there were just so many people that were hating and going against him. Because Christian, I mean, he just won.
Kind of looked like Cooper Flagg is kind of similar. It
seems like that. You know, when you think about it, you know, because people there's a group of people that like him and hype, and then there's so many people that just like he's the villain, he's the bad guy, and it's like for what? For winning? You know, that's all I did was go to college and win. You know, and that's what he did. But we went to this mom and pop little mini mart, and they're talking to him, and they're just grabbing stuff and putting it in their jackets as they're talking to him. You know, they grab a couple beers, you know, and they just walk out the store, and I'm like, man, y'all not gonna pay for that? And they were like, no, man, you know, that's how they treat us here.
They rerun this.
Yeah, so you know, you saw it there, and it was really just the beginning of it.
Did they give you the women? Did they give you?
No, it wasn't anything like that, you know. But
did they give you some bread?
You know, no, it wasn't anything on the bread side.
We weren't talking about no bread.
But yeah, you know, you went over to Coach K's house. You know, they walk in, they jumping on the couch and laid out and open the refrigerator. Like you felt like you were at home.
Okay.
Yeah. So the feeling there that Coach K provided was.
So even the other players were over, and you could see
like
that it was just
like
big
it wasn't fake.
Okay,
this wasn't
real.
fake. Like they walked in, like they freed her up on the furniture. You know what I'm saying? And Coach K's got daughters and stuff, and they're all cool, and everybody's talking.
That's huge.
Oh, it's huge,
that's
man.
Huge.
But you really felt that type of energy. So end of my trip, I'm on a plane ride with him. He's going to an ACC coaching convention.
Who's
Coach
him?
K.
Oh, you're on the plane with Coach K?
Yeah, and we're flying to Atlanta.
You flew with Coach K?
Yeah.
To Atlanta,
and then I'm flying from Atlanta back to L.A.
Okay.
So
but he was going to Atlanta because
to a coaching convention.
Okay.
So he says to me, hey, we got one scholarship left. We want to offer it to you. We want to give it to you. I'm 17, man. I'm nervous as I don't know what, man. It's my first visit.
I
want to tell him yes.
Okay.
But I'm like...
You haven't seen what else is.
I haven't seen what else. And then UCLA had been recruiting me since I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
You know, and I said, Coach, you know, let me just get through the UCLA trip, And then, basically I'm trying to tell him I'm going to commit.
Give me a minute. Yeah.
So he was like, all right, so I fly home. The next week I'm going up to Cal. Thomas Hill comes in to Duke. Thomas Hill wants to commit on the spot. Thomas Hill was
Lamont Murray at Cal then?
No, Lamont was afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a little bit younger. So Thomas Hill wants to commit on the spot, and Coach K is like, calls me and he's like, look, I may lose you both. Thomas Hill may commit to Houston because I think he's a Texas kid, and I feel like you're going to go to UCLA. And I'm like, Coach,
that's what the
Coach K tells us. I'm like, Coach, just, if you can hold off. But, Thomas wanted to commit. So the next week, I have the UCLA visit, and prior to me getting there, I think they told me that they took the commitment from Thomas. So I did my trip to UCLA, and then I took one other trip, and then I was like, I'm done. I'm going to go to UCLA now. So
what was that defining factor?
It wasn't my first choice. Duke was my first choice. I'll be honest about it. And UCLA was my second choice. And, when I went on my recruiting trip to UCLA, Derek Martin, took me around, and we had a good time, and it was fun. It was, it was like, hey, man, we had played some AAU ball together. He was like, man, I'm going to be running the break. You're going to be, you're going to be my wing. I'm going to be finding you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, and that was a good selling point. We knew each other prior to that. Yeah. Okay. So, they tried to get me to play up to his team when I was a junior and he was a senior, but their team was stacked. They had 5 guys, and they ended up bringing in Sean Kemp, Sean Woods, and another guy named Chris Lawson.
Okay.
And their team was the #1 ranked AAU team, and they wanted me to come up to it, and I was like,
oh, you mean AAU? Okay.
Yeah, AAU ball, and I was like, Chris Mills was on that team with Derek James Moses, Don McClain, Doug Meekins from Crenshaw. They had a whip, man, and but me and Tracy, we were on.
I just saw that Chris Mills was Mr. Basketball.
Oh man, Chris Mills was a monster.
I didn't know he was Mr. Basketball. Mr. Basketball?
Chris was cold, man. Chris had no flaws in his game.
Really?
None.
They said that he was comparably one of the best high school basketball players to come out of California.
Yeah. Chris's game was rock solid all the way through. He had no flaws in his game. He wasn't an uber athlete, but he was good enough athlete that he crunch on you. You know what I'm saying? He could keep you in front of him. He could, he wasn't Harold Miner or me per se. We were kind of like crazy athletes. He was just, and then he knew the game all the way through.
Footwork.
Everything was just solid with him, man. And he played with Sean Higgins. Him and Sean, arguably he might have been right there nipping at Sean's heel. Sean was I think state player of the year. Sean was fun to watch too, man. Sean could dance with that ball, man. At 6'8", dude, he was cold.
He was kind of like LO a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Inky long. You know what I mean?
He was him before him. Sean could do it all, man. Sean was a fun guy to watch. That's when I really started to get into AAU ball. And really start to understand what it was when Sean Higgins was going into his senior year. Lloyd Daniels was from New York, and Lloyd Daniels played against Sean and those guys in the game, man. And that was the first time I really got to.
Yeah, you went to these games.
I went to the game. It was New York City Gauchos versus ARC Mid Valley.
And where were these games?
It was in Vegas.
In Vegas.
And,
so you're flying to Vegas just to see the games?
No. This was the tournament that we were in.
Okay.
And I'm talking about it was standing room only in there, man. You look up John Thompson is over there, Jerry Tarkanian.
So you're in the mix. By what, 10th, 11th grade?
By 10th grade now, I'm starting to see and understand, okay, hey, this basketball could probably do something for you. I didn't know prior to then. And then coming out of my 10th grade year, I would say every week I was getting 200 pieces of mail from colleges.
200?
Yeah, it was the mailman. I remember him asking my mom. Yeah, I remember him asking my mom, like, who is this dude? Because he would just bring a box, and he just handed a box. And all kinds of schools, because I had the academics, so I had the Browns, the Yales, Harvards, the Ivies.
Academics, were you at what, 3.5?
No, just the school I went to. So I was like a 3.3, 3.4 student there. But Oakwood, versus, some of the public schools. I would have been 4.3,
Really?
4.4,
Yeah, you just,
4.5. It was just,
and you excelled too, huh?
Yeah. And I was just, again, being competitive in that environment. I wasn't just competitive in basketball and polo. I wanted to be competitive in the classroom too.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, man. It was all the way around for me.
See, I was the opposite. I was on the women, bro. You know what I mean? Like I was in all the AP classes,
right.
but I barely got
Paying
by.
attention.
I'm getting C's, maybe some B's here. You know what I mean?
It's like when you think about it and you look at Michael Jordan, like he's competitive in everything sense of the word. Yes, and
that's one thing, man. Athletes, you have to have a arrogance about you, almost. How do I say it? You just have to have an arrogance about you to know that you're the best. That you compete.
It's a swag.
I mean? It's a swag.
Yeah, it's a swag. It's an air. It's you just like when you walk into the room.
It's almost cockiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you walk in, it's just like, I'm that nigga. You know what I'm saying? And I say it like, you know what I mean? Like to other people that might be watching, that's how we talk. You know what I mean? And I look at you as like MB. He's a brother, but. You a nigga, man. You know what I mean? You one of us. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, I can't rub it off.
No. But what I mean by that is you've always held yourself, with integrity.
Yeah.
You always are a real one. You're not gonna sell your soul. No. You know what I mean? For anybody. You're not doing things, to be accepted. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. I got.
That's what I mean by you. Because you hear some of these dudes, man, and you see them, and you're like, man, you're just trying to be something that you ain't. Yeah, I had a work situation where, I was bringing some guys on with me to a work situation, and the group knew of my team that I was bringing over, and, they knew that, we had negotiated and talked and everything was supposed to be set. So they bring me in separately, shoot me a contract and tell me, hey, they're going to give me X, Y, and Z. And it was great. I'm talking about it was phenomenal, way better than I thought that I would get. And they were like, but the only thing is we only want you. And gently pushed the paper back over to him. And I said, it just doesn't work like that. Can't do it, man.
I can't, man. Like, listen,
I can't be fake.
I mean.
A real one. You're a real one,
At the end of the day, bro,
look,
man, if I'm going to lock arms with you, I'm going to lock arms with you. You ain't going to ever have to go to sleep and worry, man, does Mitch have my back? Like, I ain't going to do that to you. I ain't going to eat your back out and none of that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not me.
Yeah, integrity, man.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if we're in this thing together, man, we're going to rise together, we're going to fall together. That's just how I get in.
And that's what it is, man. There's no I in team, and we've talked about, your childhood, high school, college. Tell me a little bit more about, college and, maybe some players, Irv. Did Irv bring you in? You ever go to Irv's crib? Were you ever around, the Lakers, organization?
We saw him, man.
Or
college
Clippers,
didn't go for me as I had hoped and expected. I finished California as the third all-time leading scorer in the state history, number 2 rebounder. Multiple games.
NBA, third in California state history.
Yeah, scoring. I think I'm probably top 6.
Really?
Or something like that.
In California history.
Really?
Yeah. I see. You see Jason Crow.
Jason Crow's national mark.
National.
Yeah.
No, but he just got the California.
Well, he killed the California record a long time ago.
Well, yeah, it was this year.
Was it this year? I thought he killed it a long time ago.
Sure it was this year, but now it's
he led the country.
National.
Yeah, he led the country as
like 40
as a freshman. Yeah, so I was like, Tracy, who had it at one point. Our senior year, Tracy averaged 44. Jason Crow, I think, averaged 42 his freshman year, and that's where Tracy got really the bulk of his points. I think Tracy might have scored 1,500, 1,800 points in that one year, which is ridiculous in high school. And another one of our guys, James Hollywood Robinson, was on his heels. James Hollywood Robinson averaged 43 our senior year.
And how many
in high
school?
I averaged 33 that year. Yeah, I averaged 33 that year. But I through my high school career, I think I averaged 30. But things didn't go for me as playing at UCLA. Like I
were you close to McDonald's All-American?
No, I was a McDonald's All-American.
Oh, you were McDonald's All-American. You played in McDonald's All-American?
Yeah. So I was on the 89 team. team.
89 team.
Kenny Anderson, Jimmy Jackson, Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Houston, James Hollywood Robinson, Tracy Murray, Deion Thomas, Aaron Bird, Calvin Bird. Did
you get some bump?
Yeah. I had 14 in the game. So,
did you think too? Hold up.
Yeah, it was all right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Shaq was a whole other level, but
yeah. But 14 against.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was good, man. It was it was a lot of fun out there. We had fun.
What are some stories, man? I know you guys. Did you guys play?
I can tell you this. I remember. I played Kenny Anderson in the Boston shootout, our AAU team versus his. So he played for the New York City Gauchos, and then I was playing for the LA Wasp Magician. And Kenny had 50 on us. We won, but he had 50. Oh, man, he was slippery. He was giving it to us. And I was like, oh, this dude, I can see why he's the number one player in our class. Yeah. So Harold Miner, we were at Rogers Park, and he was going to play.
Rogers Park.
Yeah, he was going to play in the Dapper Dan Classic.
Talking about some Rogers Park. Every time
Rogers is it, bro. Rogers is it, bro. That's a legend, baby.
Keep going,
So Harold was going to play in the Dapper Dan Classic, which was like the Jordan Brand game today. So Harold goes and plays in the game. Remember me, him, Sam Crawford, Danny Griffin. There's a bunch of us up at Rogers afterwards. He came back. He was like, man, Kenny not the best player in our class. And I was like, what? Man, this dude dropped 50 on us. He was like, man, this is dude Shaquille O'Neal. And I was like, wait a minute.
See, back there was no internet. You just all
didn't know.
Word of mouth.
So I was always ranked, 10, 11, 12, and he would be a couple of spots behind me.
Nationally?
Nationally. Okay. So, I'm looking and I'm like, okay, who's this guy? So I remember the McDonald's game was in Kansas City, Kemper Arena. I'm getting my gear and see the shadow come over me. And I turned and I looked back, and it was Shaq. He was like, what's up, bro? Just how he is today, man. He ain't changed a bit, man. That's what I love about the dude.
He's always
he is straight authentic.
Man,
what you see is what you get.
I know, always.
Big is, he is the same dude he was when I very first met him, man. Just a solid human being. Solid
always. Man, I used to go to his crib, man. He just, dude, he's just one of a kind. You know what I'm saying?
One of the best, man. One of the best. So we had practice, and we had this little one-on-one drill. So you just zigzag to half court, and then you live one-on-one. So he's guarding me, and we're zigzagging. And then one-on-one, I get by him, and I go up, and he just grab it off the glass, right? 2 hands, boom.
Like that Jordan.
It's his turn coming back, right?
With the Wizard.
So, he's zigzagging. Shaq doing his little thing, and he, he's coming down. He's zigzagging.
That's exactly how he does it.
That's how he does it, too, yeah. So he gets down, and then he takes off. And I got him in front of me, but he throws it up, and I turn, but he's throwing it off the backboard, and he goes to the other side and grabs it and just boom. So I'm looking, and I'm like,
he's 7 feet. He's big. He got the big, man.
So the whole practice, man, he is dunking there. He's trying to tear the rim down. So our parents weren't coming in until later in the week. So
so you flew out there by yourself?
Yeah, flew out there by myself.
And how long were you there?
We were there for the whole week. So we did Ronald McDonald's Children's Charity Home, like we were visiting the kids and stuff like that. They had us doing a lot of stuff around the community.
Charity, okay, right.
So I called my mom. I'm like, listen, we playing with a grown man. Like, this ain't right. Like, this dude is, like, he is different. And I understood exactly what Harold said at that time, because I was like, we can't do nothing with him. And then in the game, he was unbelievable. Yeah, and that's when it was known. But Kenny, to his credit too, man, 4-time New York City Player of the Year. Only Kareem had done it prior to him, and
at his size.
And at his size, he was something to behold too, man. Yeah, he was pretty special too.
So high school was great. College didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
Okay, but you still got a workout with
the Bullets.
The Bullets at the time.
Yeah, man. It was
and tell us about that, man.
It was a very interesting come to Jesus moment for me, because I remember it like it was yesterday. The Bullets were known for having the toughest training camp of any NBA team.
Who was the coach?
Wes Unseld.
Okay.
So
old school,
old school, all the way.
Yeah.
So I remember the first practice, my back tightened up on me, and I'm laying down. Now I'm non-guaranteed. I'm non-guaranteed, and I'm laying there, and I'm asking myself, like, Mitch, how bad do you really want this? Like,
you got to grit.
I mean, my back was jacked. So got through the first practice, went back to the room, went directly to sleep. I don't think I ate anything because it's just, I was so tired. And then the second practice came out and made it through it. So I was like, okay, it's doable. Next day, we got 2 practices.
Did you get like a cortisone shot?
I didn't get a cortisone shot or anything, man.
I just some ibuprofen.
No ibuprofen
nothing.
or anything. I just rested.
You just thugged it out.
Yeah, just stretched
okay.
and rested. And I got better and better and better as it went along. By the time, we were ready to break camp, like I had made enough of an impression.
Yeah. I think I was in D.C. at that time. So you were with Chris Webber and
No. Chris hadn't gotten there yet. So this was Mike Adams.
Mike Adams, okay.
This was Mike Adams, who was the vet on the team.
Okay.
So we had Mike Adams, Rex Chapman. Me, Kenny Skywalker, Doug Overton, Don McClain, Larry Stewart.
Okay. So it was the second time you went there.
Yeah,
okay.
no, but that was the first year. Then the next year we traded for Webber.
Okay.
Because we drafted Jawan.
Okay.
We traded for Webber. The year before, Calbert Chaney, George Murison were also rookies with me.
Okay.
And got an opportunity to play, man. I remember I was stretching with Mike Adams. It was the strangest thing, and he was my vet. And I love Mike. We called him Ghetto. Ghetto was big time. And we're stretching.
Why you call him Ghetto? He was just hood?
Because he was thugged out in the game. Even though Mike might have been 5'8", 5'9", Mike was tough as nails. Man. Like he wasn't gonna punk him.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So we called him Ghetto, and we're stretching. And I'm gonna tell you just how he told me. He was sitting there stretching. He's like, "Say, young fella, stay ready, cause these niggas fall like flies around here."
That's real.
And
that's real.
Unfortunately, Rex Chapman dislocates his ankle like a couple of weeks later.
Okay,
it was crazy.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, and I mean, we helped Rex off the floor. I felt horrible. I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Calbert Chaney was backing him up, and Calbert Chaney started. So then I started getting a little tick here and there.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, man, it might have been a month later,
you had a breakout game or something.
Calbert gets a high ankle sprain. And they just tossed me out there, and I played well. And coach calling my number all of the time, and I was delivering. And I had good moments, good flashes of moments for them to offer me a contract at the end of that. And then I just kind of parlayed that, man.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah,
that's amazing because at UCLA it didn't go as planned.
Right.
How many points do you think you?
The most I ever averaged at UCLA was 9.5.
9.5 points.
Never scored over 20 in the game.
Really?
At UCLA.
Really?
I had 19, 18, Ugo's amount of time. I never scored over 20.
Okay.
I remember
rebounds.
I was a solid rebounder. Always shot
defender.
Always shot a good percentage from the floor. I was never a great, 3-point shooter or free throw shooter.
Okay.
But I was a contributor on the team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I felt like there were things that could have been done at UCLA to make me better.
Okay.
Like I would have loved for the coach to say, "Hey, Mitch, you can't ever drive and dunk. You have to stop and shoot a 15-footer.
Why would you?
Like if you get a breakaway, because just psychologically, this is what I would do as a coach.
Really?
If I had a kid,
don't dunk.
I wouldn't want you to do it in practice because I already know you can do that. I'm gonna make you shoot the basketball. Okay. I'm gonna instill confidence in you that I believe that you can shoot the basketball.
Interesting.
And that's a way that you can help a kid round out that part of their game, grow and develop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you're pushing the ball up, you steal it in practice. I can't go in and dunk. I got to stop and shoot a 15-footer, 18-footer, 20-footer. That changes my mindset. You know what I'm saying? That starts to, breathe confidence into a part of my game that's weak.
You know what it takes. You've been there. You know what I mean? And you see, even in your life, what the small little things that could have helped you.
Let me tell you some of the things that I tell some of the kids that I get engaged with. So you can make a lot of money in the NBA being a great rebounder.
Yeah, whatever it is you do.
Let's say you're playing 30 minutes a night. If you average 10 rebounds a game in the NBA, that's good.
That's real good.
You're double digits. So that's one rebound every 3 minutes you're on the floor.
Ben Wallace.
How many times are you running up and down that floor in 3 minutes? How many opportunities are you going to have to get a rebound? All you got to do is give me one.
One.
Now, if you're really good, you'll go get me two, which you say one is easy. Two, I can get you two. I get you 2 rebounds. For every 3 minutes I'm on the floor, that's 20 rebounds a game.
Changing that mindset.
Bro, You know how much money you're making? You're a great shot blocker.
Yeah.
And you're playing 30 minutes.
Yeah.
1 every 10 minutes.
Right.
1 every 10 minutes. Can you give me one? Can you block 1 shot every 10 minutes? Man, as many times I can get you 2. Okay. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a great scorer in the NBA, you got to get to the foul line.
Yeah.
You cannot do it without. You're just not going to shoot enough shots.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to offset the number of attempts with free throws.
That's why I started at the beginning, to kind of see who you are and your mindset and how you tick.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's the finer details.
It's the finer details.
And I didn't pick it all up until after I was done, and I'm like, oh, gosh.
It was like an epiphany.
But again, I didn't have that person or people that were in my sphere that could give me this type of knowledge and game. I started to get it when I got to college and being around Magic and watching those guys. I
got real good late. I was 26 years old when I really started getting good. And by then it was too late. I was balling. You know what I mean? We won a couple championships. Paul over at the Real Run. Played. You know what I mean? Like, hey, doing my thing.
It's that, man. But when you can give it to people like that, and a lot of people. Warren Legary's a great. Warren Legary runs the NBA Summer League, and he was one of the biggest and best agents in the game. Yeah. Warren to this day still ribs me because he's like, you'd have your own team right now. You'd be coaching, you'd be winning championships. And, because I always thought the game, I think, a little bit differently. And I always knew how to cultivate relationships. To me, when you start talking about the NBA, it's about how you move your pieces together. Yeah. So you look at Dale Harris and you look at Phil Jackson, and you're saying, okay, they had the same talent. Why weren't they? Phil was able to move the pieces in a way that worked well. Phil knew he didn't have to coach Kobe, Shaq, and let's say his third is Rick Fox.
Okay.
Phil coached Derek Fisher. He coached Robert Horry. He coached Devin George. He coached Luke Walton. He coached down the bench, and he was always able to get something from those guys because he can come in and he can write the numbers on the board on the other guys. You know what I'm saying? So when you're a really good coach, you got to know how to coach. I always say 4, 5 through 9 or 10 in your rotation. And then you always got to have a break the glass in case of an emergency guy. And that guy is I almost felt like that was me in a lot of situations, on the rosters that I was on. I never really played, but I was always ready to play. So break the glass in case of an emergency and toss Mitch out there. I'm going to know every single position on the floor. I'm going to know what needs to be done. I'm not going to hurt my team. I'm not going to go out there and try to be something that I'm not. I'm just going to try to maintain until the other guys get back. So
60-70% is the ability, right. But the other 30% is up here. And that's where, I think that you really excel because you understand the game, you understand the intricacies, you pay attention to detail. Why do you think that you didn't stay in that coaching realm to help I'll answer that,
and I'll flip that what you said, in terms of 70% being ability. I almost think it's 80%, 20% ability, and 80% your knowledge.
Okay.
So when you look at today's game, you look at Luka,
very true,
Jokic. I'm gonna even throw Shea in there. They're not uber athletes. They're not.
No.
These guys that you look at,
they
you're like,
study the game,
their knowledge of the finer details of the game, it is savant. It is just different, and they see it differently. Magic was the same way.
Yes, he was.
Bird was the same way. They weren't crazy athletes. No. They were just so many plays ahead in their thinking, or so many moves ahead in their thinking, that they were able to excel that way. For me, on the coaching side of it, if I had the opportunity to do it, and I, in my industry, in my space now as an agent working in NIL, I talk to a lot of the coaches and players, and I advocate for kids, and I always keep it real with my guys. If my guys aren't good enough and another guy's out playing them, I'll say, hey man, listen, this is the case.
This is what it is.
But if I think a coach is missing the point with it, I'll try to, respectfully give them insight into how we think as athletes, because I was that guy. Like, you can't BS me by telling me that, my client doesn't do X, Y, and Z when I know my client's skill set and talent. I'm like, wait a minute, you're failing to pull that out of a particular client. I have a client right now who's currently playing on a team, and the coach is refusing to play him. And I can't figure out for the life of me, because I know from a talent standpoint, the players that are playing ahead of him, not even close. Not even close. It's not even close. Now, the coach can tell me, oh, well, it's this, oh, it's that. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Oh, he performed well on a bad team. Shai Gilgeous was on a bad team with the Clippers. He went to OKC.
He definitely did, and built that.
Yeah, and he's the best player. Right. You know what I'm saying? Good talent can sometimes be on a bad team move to a good team. That's right. And the culture and how they fit the pieces works better.
MB, you have so much to give to the game. So much, how are you giving back to the game?
I try to do it on my side of the industry and my side of the space as an agent, man. I really do.
Okay, and is that something that you're passionate about?
I am passionate about. Really? I'd like to have my own podcast where we're really just talking about,
why are you passionate about, agenting and help? What is it?
Because I feel like the agent business can be very transactional. Okay. And it's just all about the money, the commodity and what happens. And I'm like, it's a little bit more than that. If we're really doing this the right way, we should be setting this individual up to have the most amazing professional career that they can have. Because I can tell you this, man, listen, the NBA is Disneyland every day, champ. It's unbelievable, man. Yeah, just the experience and all that you get, man. Perks. And it's the gift that keeps. I've been retired for 20 years, man, and I can still get something in the mail from the league office that says, hey, we're giving you this or we're giving you that. They are unreal in that capacity and that fraternity that you're in.
You feel that you're still giving back to the game being an agent?
I do feel like the people that I get a chance, even the people that I don't get and I get a chance to get in front of them and pitch, I'm giving them jewels, nuggets that if they take and they apply, it works. Because I didn't just be on the roster and sit there, at the end of the bench.
No, you studied.
I studied and I learned and I was around good guys. Me and Rick Brunson were in Portland together, and we would sit down and we would talk. And little Jalen's coming along, this, that, or the other, and then you start to see his growth and his development. And I'm like, that's all Rick.
Yeah, it's all Rick. I just saw Rick in Vegas. 2 weeks ago. Yeah, good. I had a good talk with him for a second, but it was you that got me out to. I went to camp with the 76ers with Marcus Slaughter.
With Marcus,
mini camp out there, and Rick Brunson was the one person that they brought in over me.
Right. He's a Philly guy.
He's a Philly guy. Really good guy.
Yeah, really good.
And I'm so happy for him and his son, because his
son's a monster. He's
a monster. Like another one, like you said, not a great athlete.
No,
but you know what?
They almost missed the boat on him. They almost missed the boat.
What do you mean?
Well, think about
Villanova, he was a winner.
He was a winner at Villanova, but when he came into the league, no one was raving about him because he didn't carry the metrics that you're supposed to carry as a Derrick Rose or Russell Westbrook.
I think it was perfect down in Dallas, in Cuban and them. Let him.
That opportunity almost didn't present itself.
Okay,
now, again, I think that you have to be prepared for these situations. I don't know all of the details about it. It's the same thing with me. You have these small windows where you get an opportunity.
Yes.
And if you don't take advantage of it, boom, it closes. And literally, when Michael Adams told me that and that opportunity came for me, if I didn't play well, the window would have closed. I would have been in the league 1 year and out. But I played well enough to win my team's Player of the Month, and then was rewarded.
So why do you say that he almost didn't have that opportunity?
It was someone else who was down in Dallas with him that was getting the bulk of the minutes, and then they ended up going to him. And he blew up. He took off then, or it was someone that he was sharing the minutes with. I can't recall who it was, but his window was there. But he didn't just walk; he walked through it.
Yeah, he took it full.
And then it was, again, it was
like his father putting that battery in his back.
But think about this: it was so much so that Dallas wasn't willing to offer him what the Knicks did.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you knew that they didn't see they saw the talent, but the value behind where he was going to go. The Knicks were like, wait a minute. Like,
we see it.
Yeah, we see it.
But a lot of times it's like that, it's like your friends don't see you. It's just like almost like, Jesus, man, the people around him didn't see who he was becoming. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then once you became, they're like, oh, he ain't nothing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But others start to see the value in who you are.
Some people can appreciate the finer details, the smaller details. The guy only won in college. You know what I'm saying? Like he made winning plays. He was with other guys who weren't uber athletes or crazy talented, but they won. They understood what the game was. It's like Christian Laettner. Like, the dude just knew how to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't matter. He was going to put his team in the best position to win, and they would do it, and he would get it done. So when you start seeing that, man, from an athletic standpoint, and you start trying to share that with people, you're like, listen, this is really where it all is. But sometimes people feel like, oh, I know enough. I don't need to hear what you got to say. And it's like, no, if I put you on game and you start to think differently, it's a whole different ball game. I work with a kid, Jordan Miller, with the Clippers. I love him to death, man. This kid, he's really talented. He's good, and the Clippers are slowly bringing him along. But
you see glimpses
of it. But he may get an opportunity. I hope it is with the Clippers, but it may be with somebody else. And he's going to blow up, man, because he's a winner. He knows how to play. He plays the right way. He's not an uber athlete. He's good enough on the floor, but he's got an array of shots. He understands the game, the finer details of the game. He'll succeed. You know what I'm saying? And those types of stories you appreciate and have been a small part of his little journey, his short journey to this point, and to know that I may have shared some nuggets of information with him that I think
that's one of your players.
He was one of my clients, at one point. One of my clients at one point, and he's a rock star, man. I think that he's going to be everything in a bag of chips, bro.
Now, we can talk basketball all day.
Yeah.
It's in our DNA. It's in your DNA. That's who I am at my core, and that's who you are at your core. We're Hoopers through and through. This is a poker podcast. Yeah. So let's get back to talking about some of the Did you ever play poker on an airplane or can you give me some of those stories?
I got some great
stories. Motherfuckers owe people money and get smacked, or you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. What are the end?
Well, man. We had lots of games. Lots of games. We had games called In Between, where, you put together 3 or 4 decks. That's when it got really dicey. And, you turn a card to the left, and then you turn a card to the right, and then there would be a pot of money, and you can decide how much of that pot you want to try to take by guessing that the next card is going to land in between. So if it was outside of the post,
then you didn't get the money.
No, you didn't get the money, and you paid a penalty, and you put
money in
whatever you were trying to take.
I got it.
If you hit one of the posts, you got to double the pot.
Double the money. Okay.
So you're sitting there, you catch an ace on this side, you catch an ace on that side. You're like, oh, I'm golden. I'm good. Low and high.
That's a luck game. No.
That's a luck game. So, we played stuff like that. And then, we started playing a game called Boo-Ray, which is, a variation of poker and spades, where the dealer would deal 5 cards to everyone, turn over one of their cards, and you want to turn over the ace of whatever suit it is, and that would be the trump card, which would assure you at least one book. So then everyone would look at their cards. Kind of like spades. And then it becomes poker. You look at your cards and you say, okay, if it's the ace of spade he turned over, how many spades do I have in my hand? And then you could draw. So, and depending on that action and how many players were in, you would win the money only if you won the majority of the books. Okay. If it were a tie,
would you have to, say before the game how many books you think you'd get?
No, it had nothing to do with that. So it was a skill play from there.
I got you.
And then at that particular point, you would have to. Depending on who won the most books would win the money. If it were 2 people tied, let's say 2-2-1, because there are 5 books that could be won, 2-2-1, the money would roll over. It was 3-1-1, the one person would win. The 2 people who got 1 book, they would be all right. If you didn't get a book, that's what they call being booed.
Okay.
So then you'd have to match the pot. So this was the Gilbert Arenas Javaris Crittenden incident.
Is that So give me
they're playing booed. Now, I wasn't there. I wasn't on the team at that time.
So you and I have both been around Gilbert for years.
Yeah.
You know, Gilbert, that's my man. He's different.
Gilbert's hilarious.
He's funny. So give me the story.
Gilbert is one of the luckiest, funniest gamblers that I've ever been around.
Really?
Because I remember we were playing.
I played a lot with him. He ain't lucky when I play. He loses when I play with him. But anyway, we
were playing the Pelicans, man, and we went over to Harrah's, that's right across from the casino, from the hotel, and we're sitting down. We're playing baccarat.
What casino?
Isn't it Harrah's that are right there across from the New Orleans?
City? Oh, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're playing baccarat. None of us have ever played it. And Gilbert is winning every hand.
Really?
Man. He's putting 500 out every hand on bank or player. And he's just looking at the board like he knows what he's doing. He's like, I think it's going to be this. And he's just killing it. So, we're like, wait, this dude is on to something. So, we're taking 100. And
so is this a $100 million contract, Gilbert Arenas, at this point?
Gilbert was on his first big contract. His first big contract. So he had money.
Okay.
And he's betting. And I think Gilbert probably won about 30 or 40,000 that night.
Okay.
He's just, and he's just guessing.
Yeah.
He's just guessing, but he's hitting everything.
All right.
So, me and Jared Jeffries are with him, and we're putting 100 down on everything that he puts down. And we're winning. We probably won
not as much as
about 4 grand, $4 or $5 grand. We're happy, we're like, but Gilbert had killed it. But, they were playing Boo-Ray on the plane, and those pots, man, those pots can get to 60, 70,000 quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
And Javaris didn't have the big...
he didn't have that type of money. And see, when you're playing with a guy like Gilbert who's got, a long bankroll, he can stay in a couple of hands and, it's not going to affect him like it's going to affect you.
And he be talking shit, too.
Yeah, he does, man. He does.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's funny, man.
Man.
Gil is just
you
over
watch
there
his podcast, bro. He be roasting nigga. I'll be laughing like...
Gil is nuts, man.
So keep going.
But, when I very first got to the buzz, and I wasn't making any money, we would be playing poker, and we were flying commercial.
Oh, okay.
We were the last team to go private. So we'd have to have a book, put the money in the book, close the book up, and then we play the hand. And then if you win, you take the book, you take the money out. Because you want people around see what you're doing. But we're all sitting in a little area.
Yeah.
So then once we started flying private, the games were a little bit more open. Got to the Pacers. They had a really good game. Reg and Mark Jackson, Dale Davis.
Oh, okay.
Those dudes, man.
I was wondering.
They used to play for real, man.
Okay.
That was the first time I really
big stakes.
Yeah,
no limit hold'em. Was it no limit hold'em?
It was limit.
PLO?
It was limit, but it might as well have been no limit because the way that they were just peeling off the money and tossing it in a pot, like the pots were significant, bro.
Well, what are significant? Hundreds of thousands?
Nah, I would probably. I mean, you're probably looking at pots that are probably
50,000.
No, I'm gonna say just a single pot, and this is a 2-hour flight. 8,000.
Okay.
But you're seeing multiple $8,000 pots.
Somebody could lose.
Yeah, so it's costing you $1,000 to see one card.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, and they're just doing it over and over and over. That was the first time I ever seen a game that big. Our games would be $20, and we're doing that, and if it got to, 1,000, we'd be like, oh man, $1,000. But I mean, I'm a rookie in the NBA making $150,000. That was a lot of money to me. So,
truth be told, I probably wouldn't be playing poker today if it wasn't for you.
I know, right?
You brought me around Jack Haley, your home games.
That's right. Yeah.
And Jack Haley actually brought me to Commerce Casino for the first time. I didn't even know there was a casino in
remember
LA.
we used to talk about, 'cause you used to cut my hair, we used to talk about playing it online.
Yeah.
Remember?
And I used to play on the Poker Stars. Did you ever play online?
I played online a bunch, man.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I played online a bunch, man. Took a bunch of $300 plays and ran it up to $30,000. It was
$30,000?
Yeah, it was unreal, man.
You won $30,000 playing cash games online?
Online. I would jump around from table to table.
300?
From $300. You know, once I got my bankroll up enough, I jump into a bigger game. I win $1,000, $2,000. I jump off, and I was never giving them a chance to really figure me out and get me. I was just jumping from room to room to room. You know?
So how did you get the love for the game? How did it? Because the reason I brought you on the podcast was because you're an avid poker player.
Yes, I love.
You
poker.
love playing the game. Where did that? When did that happen? Was it college? Was it after? Was it after?
It was probably in college. Like I said, when I moved out and we moved in our place, we would have regular poker games.
Year, okay.
My junior year.
Okay.
Yeah, we would have regular poker games. And that competitive spirit. You want to win. You want to win some money. Go on a date, this, that, or the other. So, and then when I got to the league, it just you multiply it times 10.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And guys have money. And
what's the biggest pot that you've seen? The most money that somebody has lost in that you've seen in person?
Well, I'll tell you this.
Hey, I know you're not trying to be incriminating.
I'll tell you this.
But at the same time,
when I was in Portland, we used to play and we used to have some nice games. You could walk out of there and you could win 80, 90 grand.
Okay.
In a city.
Now, these are home games.
These are home games.
Okay.
These are home games. We're playing. And I remember
who's playing.
I remember so it's Dale Davis, Scottie Pippen, Bonzi Wells, me.
Scottie plays too. I played at his house.
Yeah, and Scottie,
Okay.
Scottie,
Okay.
They were terrible players back then. They're probably a lot better now.
Okay,
But I used to laugh at them because they used to try to punk you with the money. Every card was $1,000, and then Oak would come and play. Big Charles Oakley.
Oh, really?
And everybody.
Forcer. No games. Give my damn money.
And when Oak played like he played real poker. So Oak was always like pot limit. So whatever the pot
Omaha.
would be. No, not Omaha. So we played whatever the game was, and we played wild card games. We play Omaha. We play, stud. We play.
He was putting the pressure on you.
Yeah, but it was an Oak would come with a satchel. He always had a lot of money in the satchel. Oh man, I don't know how much would be in there, but I just know he just reached down in it, grab something, and just look at it and be like, okay, pot, and you felt the pressure with him. He was a really good poker player too. I remember that. I didn't play many times with him, maybe I think twice. Okay. But you felt his presence then. I saw MJ and those guys play once.
Did you ever play with MJ?
Never played with them. I when they were filming Space Jam, they were in the trailer.
Okay. You were on Blue Chips and Space Jam.
Yeah.
Were you in Space Jam?
I got paid for it. I was in it, but all of my scenes got cut.
Now, were you working out with Jordan when he had those,
when he had the workouts up there? I came up several times.
Really?
At first it was, he had the UCLA guys, Toby Bailey and all of those guys there first.
Okay.
And then me, Derek
Those
Martin.
are epic games.
Yeah, we started to filter in.
You played in those
Chris
games.
Mills and those
Really?
guys. And then, before long, everybody started coming. Juwan Howard, Reggie, Gary Payton. Yeah, it was a who's who on the court. Oak, everybody was there. And I saw them playing once. And it was just outside of my stakes. I couldn't do it, so it was uncomfortable for me. I'm sitting there like touching my pocket, like wanting to get in the game, but I'm like, I don't have a bankroll. I don't have a bankroll to play with these guys.
Antoine Walker type.
Yeah. These dudes, man, they are
big money.
Yeah, a whole other level. But we had good games, man. It was fun. You play on the plane. We didn't have any issues or problems, man.
Because you used to take me around. You took me to a game in Century City or something like that. They used to have a game that ran every Monday or something. It was like in the high rise. In a high rise. Yeah, you played a lot of poker.
Yeah, there were some games around that were, but again, for me,
it's just the competition.
Yeah, it was a competition and
camaraderie.
That. Yeah, and socializing. I never looked at it as this is how I'm going to make money. Okay, living. I've always said, and you and I, we've had a number of conversations around this in poker, just the discipline of being a poker player, if you're going to try to make a living at it, is crucial. Yeah. Because you can get taken away with the
ups and downs.
Yeah, the ups, the rises with it, and then the dips, and the dips can really
Discipline.
hurt you.
Yeah.
When you should get up and you should walk away from the table, because no matter what you do, you're playing the best cards the best way.
It's just not.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So being disciplined in that way.
So you play for the discipline. What do you?
I do. I try to play. I try to play with a high degree of discipline.
Okay. And so you don't take many risks.
I do take risks, but my risk depends on who I'm playing with on the table.
Okay. So what stakes do you normally play? 5, 10, 10,
I play 5-5. That's as big as I want to go.
That's okay.
And then I'll go down to the 1-3.
Okay.
And play. The 1-3 is really where you're just picking people off.
Now, back when I was playing with you with Jack, weren't you playing pretty big? Because that
was limit home. When I played limit, I would play up to
Mark
40,
Jackson
80.
and all those guys.
When we had our home game,
the home game.
Our home game
was pretty big, right?
That was a big game.
That was a couple $1,000 buy-in.
It was a $4,500 buy-in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was the buy-in. That was a big. Times. Yeah, that was a big game that we had. It was a $4,500 buy-in. What sucks about it is because we were all friends. You know, and you don't want to pound your friend.
Now,
you know
did some relationships get?
It was tough.
Can you give me any examples of?
There were guys that couldn't afford to pay. Yeah, and they were writing bad checks, or they were writing checks and telling you to hold on to the checks. I mean, I still got checks at my place that are, no good. I can't cash them.
Really?
$15,000 checks that are just no good.
And how do you?
I mean, listen, we were all losing and money was moving different places. I think everyone in the game is just kind of forgiving everybody, and it's not really. And that happens on NBA teams too. Because
so did it fizzle out for you? The playing with
like that,
game?
Like that. So we did it for probably. I did it for a couple of years. A couple of years we did it.
With you guys.
But it started to, and then people started to feel uncomfortable. We had one guy in the game who was
Charlie's
really, who was really wealthy, and for him, and he felt bad because he knew he was financially fine, but if he saw someone take a hit, he just, you want to stop playing, but you don't want to quit on someone because they may be down and they want to try to get their money back. And so, you had those feelings and sentiments going on. And it was just, I feel like, those types of games with people that you care about, friends, fraternal brothers, you don't want to do that, with them. You go to a card club and you're going to sit down at a card club and you're going to play against people. There's certain guys that I see at a card club that, like I said, they play every hand and they're bad players. Like, I literally just want to stop them and say, man, listen,
stop.
Like you need, it shouldn't be
fine tuning. You need to study the game.
Yeah, you need to move down to a lower stake and play the way you're playing until you learn how to value a hand.
Manage your money.
Exactly. Every 2 cards for them, when you see them turning over a 10-4 offsuit and they happen to win and they're raking the pot in and they're happy and you're like, oh gosh, you're going to get creamed.
Yeah, if you keep on doing that over the long haul.
You're going to catch your 10 on the flop and you're never going to catch your 4. Someone's going to have a 10 with a better kicker.
Now, do you study it all? Do you study GT?
I don't study GT or any of that. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I try to study players' tendencies and the game more like that. When I sit down at a table,
ranges.
I put people on a range. Exactly. This is what I think that they would have
an action guy, or this is a type player. I can put this person to the test.
Exactly. It's that, and you get enough information. By bets.
People.
Yeah, exactly. But when we're sitting at a game, and there's several of us sitting at the table, and that they're solid players too, and we're sitting with maybe 2 or 3 weak players. Everyone's trying to position themselves to get in. Get in good with the weak players. So.
No, I was trying to get some good info from you, but
they're really not any stories. I mean, we just sit down and we play. We play competitively.
Okay. I would be also remiss not to talk about Gilbert Arenas and also Chauncey Billups and what you think about this indictment and how they kind of put us in the spotlight. They're talking about the Gambino family and all these crime bosses. And
I don't know if it's it's, and I don't know Gilbert's situation really well. From what I read and what I understand is that
I know it really well. I was a part of the game.
Were you part of the game?
I was a part of
So it's the rake. Anytime that the rake gets involved in it, now the feds can come and get involved because you're not talking about a gaming license and so on and so forth. And, you've got all of your local casinos that are pissed off that you're running these private games, taken away from players that are coming into their casino, and they're paying for a license, and now there's a rate going on at this game. People are making money, so it's affecting their business.
What do you think about the notion that Chauncey is
come on, man,
marking the game where he's trying to cheat players?
I know Chauncey really well, man.
We both know
We're talking about an incredible human being. Yes,
human being
all the way through. And I don't believe for a second that he would set up any of his friends to come and participate in a game that he knew cheating was going on and they were going to be taking their money. That NBA fraternity, man, it is. It's special, and it's a bond. Like, you make it there, it's like people know what the grind is to get there. And for Chauncey to listen. We all play poker. Everyone likes to play poker.
Yeah,
Poker's fun.
People don't realize how many people play poker. Chauncey, Ty Lue.
Your bigger celebrities don't want to walk into a card club where everyone's like, such and such is in here, and they want to go to a home game private. Have a good meal, socialize, have some drinks, and have a good time. They don't want to deal with all of the other riffraff that goes on, maybe autograph seekers, people taking photos and things of that nature. So they get to go to these private settings, and they want to play. Yeah. They want to play comfortably. Yeah. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that. Right. You know what I'm saying? But when they start sprinkling in the crime families and marks and cheating and all of that stuff, I wouldn't believe for a second that Chauncey was in on it.
I just can't believe that either. And it's funny that they put us as the face of you only saw our pictures exactly in the media, and then they got fired. You know what I mean? But you didn't see these Gambino families pictures or these crime bosses. Did you see one?
None of them. I don't know what they look like.
I'm watching in Sports Center. I'm watching the news. They got Chauncey and head to the courtroom, to the courtroom and whatnot. I said, man, come on, man, that's crazy.
Very unfortunate, man, for Chauncey. Because the people moved in a different way, and he thought he was just being a part of a game that was cool and fun. When you really look at how these games are put on, they really are nice productions by the people who host the games. 100%. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they hire a chef. You got your top shelf drinks that you can have. You have massages. You have, you have servers that'll bring your food to you at the table. Like, it's really comfortable. So why would anybody be thinking that someone wants to bring people in to cheat them out of money to get money back from them?
But there are certain people who try to cheat.
Oh, there's going to always be cheaters at the game. In any venue, there's going to always be.
Do you think that any NBA guys would do something like that?
No, I don't. I don't think that they would do it to other NBA guys.
Like a Damon Jones, they put him in the, played, with him, or you know what I mean? Like,
I know Damon too. Damon's a good guy too.
He seemed like a pretty good guy.
I think when you start talking about betting sport, that's a little bit different than playing poker and setting up a game like that. When you talk about betting sport, and again, I was always so afraid. I mean, they used to come in and talk to us and say, okay, you're out at a restaurant and somebody says, hey, Mitch, man, how's Chris Webber feeling? And we know that Chris Webber's injured or hurt. Like, don't say anything. Yeah. And they scared us, scared me straight at least. And I never shared any information with anybody in any venue that I was with. I've never bet on sports. Even to this day, I don't do it. Yeah, I'm just not a sports bettor. People start talking about, what's
you can't win.
Parlays and all that. I don't know any of that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? So I stay as far away from that as possible. But to hear Damon Jones's story and the fact that, he allegedly, divulged information concerning, what I think people are saying was LeBron, and LeBron not playing in a game, and the odds swinging and all of that stuff. Those are tough, man. Those are really tough, because now there's a huge scandal going on now with the kid that I recruited and I almost signed as a client, Antonio Blankney, who played in China, and they're saying that the mob got to him and had him underperform just a little bit to affect the outcome of his game. And then it's now, allegedly sprinkled into college basketball.
Yeah, there's like 20
or 30 kids in college basketball. And the integrity of the game is important, man. You can't touch that.
Right.
We go out to compete because we want to compete. We're gladiators. But
at the same time, we want to do it and do it the right way.
Right.
I don't want to cheat you.
Exactly.
If
I got to cheat you, it doesn't feel good.
At the end of the day, I want to beat you. You talk a little, shit or whatever.
I'm a golfer now. I play with my boys, man, and sometimes I'm off, and they're looking for a ball on this side, and I whiff a ball, and I may hit a ball into a tree, and it bounces back this side or the other. I count every single stroke.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to cheat them. Like, if I'm going to beat you, I want to beat you because I'm better than you and I beat you that way. I'm not going to ever cheat you to beat you.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, so this has been a great conversation, man. Like, so what do you see, because at the end of the day, we're hoopers through and through.
Right.
What how are you leaving an impact on the game? Or do you feel that, at your age now, you're going to continue being a sports agent? Where do you see yourself, in the next 10 to 20 years? Are you going to be still giving back to the game? Is that, what are your passions now?
Yeah, I always plan on giving back to the game. And I may very soon have a mic in front of me and be doing these types of interviews and hosting, because I do think that a lot of the game itself and life itself doesn't get discussed in what I've been consuming as this type of information. It's generally black and white, what a person does and performs, but there's so much with the mental aspect of it, and who you are, how, the things that you were asking me here. You shaped this interview very well in that you wanted to know my
upbringing,
my genes, my DNA,
DNA.
How does that make me become who I am today?
Who you are today.
That is, I think, for me, something in the future that I would like to talk about more, so that people can get an understanding of athletes. We live in a day and age now where kids can get paid in high school and in college now in their name, image, and likeness. There's a certain amount of pressure that comes with that now at an earlier age. And how does that affect their mental? How does that affect?
You don't get a chance
to be an amateur, to make the mistakes, and to be able to grow. Now you're held to a higher
standard early, right?
Yes.
And you're not ready.
Yes, and it's with an immature mind, it's tough. I have clients that are 7-figure guys in college.
Wow.
There's 7-figure guys in college, man. In college, buddy. You literally don't have any bills in college. You live on campus.
You're chilling.
You have the best life on campus,
And you're making 7 figures.
You're 7 figures, buddy.
Really?
7 figures, man. And for those guys, it's an overwhelming amount of pressure to perform. If you're not performing, the coach may say some things to you that are uncomfortable, it's tough. It's tough. But I'd like to be talking more about that and working with families and kids on, how to best prepare for this challenge that they're about to go into, because they're going to do it maybe anywhere from, 2 to 6 years earlier than they would normally do it.
Now, you want to talk to younger players and try to cultivate them? Is that
Absolutely. I'm working with some guys, Jason Wright, Derek Martin. Jason has an academy for young kids, try to go in and speak to them on a regular basis and really just try to set the table for them so that they know what's coming down the pipeline. Because once it hits and it starts to happen, if they're not prepared for it, that's when it becomes overwhelming, and then the mental aspects of it can affect your performance out on the floor. And you don't want that to happen. You want them to be able to digest it as easily and as possible. The one thing that I would say to all the young people out there is you have to believe in yourself. You have to write your own story, tell your own story, because there'll be many pundits, many people out there that will try to tell your story for you.
That's right.
And you have to believe in it. You have to believe in it from the highest hair on the top of your head to the lowest point on the bottom of your feet. And if you believe and you're authentic with that belief, there's nothing that will stop you from getting to wherever it is you want to get to. But you have to be authentic and you have to be real about it, because only you will know if you're lying. And it just takes one little small grain of salt, of doubt, and it'll pollute your whole body like cancer. So just believe. Write your own story, tell your own story. No one can do it better than you.
That's right. Faith is the opposite of fear, and you got to have faith to, continue on in life and to be great at whatever it is that you do. Well, MB, man, I really appreciate you for being my first guest.
Dude, it's big time, man. It's a hell of an interview.
I just, it just shows the character of who you are. You're somebody I really call a friend. Somebody who I can count on. Yep. We don't talk every day, but when we do talk, man, it's all love, bro.
That's how we get out,
what I mean? And I wish you the best success. I hope that, if you do, create a podcast that, I'm going to be a number one supporter, brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
And let's keep it going, brother.
That's it, man. You keep doing your thing here too, man, because you got something really nice, man.
Yes,
I love the storytelling. It's great.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. VIP all day.
Thank you for coming and, spending some time with us. And this is VIP's podcast, and I'm Derek Gregory, your host. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
You know the pedigree.